The safety is off. There's a round in the chamber. This is Armed Alabama. Sponsored by McCoy Outdoor Company, Mobile's hometown full-line outdoor sporting products and gear store. An interactive talk show discussing self-defense, product reviews, shooting tips, safety, and more. Your calls, comments, and texts welcome at 343-0106. Now, here are your hosts, retired judge and certified NRA instructor Rusty Johnston and certified NRA law enforcement instructor Adam Strange.
They're gonna pry these guns right out of my hands when they come to take them away. I believe in the rights that my fathers gave me when he signed the Constitution that day. No misguided president or crooked politician with a greasy pocket be spared. When the hard-working man gets tired of your cry, it's gonna rain wrath, beware. Don't tread on me, I'm American free. You're not gonna take it away. I stand up and fight for my freedoms and rights. That's a price you'll have to pay. Don't tread on me, I'm American free. Red-blooded to the core. You ain't ever had a fight in your life like the fight that you're itching for.
Good evening. This is Judge Rusty Johnston, and welcome to the July 26th edition of Armed Alabama. We're here to talk about pistols, rifles, revolvers, shotguns, ammunition, concealed carry, personal defense training, and attacks on our God-given natural rights to protect ourselves and our families. You'll get no PC here, no Marxism, and if you're looking for NPR's All Things Considered, you've tuned into the wrong place. Besides, I think they closed down when Pravda did. Now, another thing, if you're one of these delicate flowers that get offended when you hear Donald Trump speak or something like that, you better turn the channel over to one of the classical ones because you'll probably have a stroke listening to us. I'm here with my co-host, Adam Strange. Adam, how are you tonight?
Great. Glad you could join us tonight. We've got a huge show. Looking forward to everything we got to talk about. If you want to, you can actually join us on the radio show. You can call in at 251-343-0106. Check us out on Facebook. It's Armed Alabama Radio FM Talk 106.5. And Twitter, Armed Alabama 106.5. And, of course, be sure and check out our website. It's armedalabama.com. And if you miss any of our shows, you can go on our website and you can listen at your leisure. You can listen during work or your drive in the morning time or in the evening.
Just don't call in. You might get Sean or one of those other people that are on in the day, and they might be talking about the Mobile City Council. And you sure don't want to get in on that conversation.
Yeah, so feel free to go on our website and listen anytime at your leisure. I couldn't tell how many people have told me, it's like, hey, I can't catch your show, but I listen all the time on the internet on your website. And also, we have a YouTube channel that the judge keeps up and posts a lot of things on there.
And we're up to date. And in addition to the show, which I post, we've got other things. A lot have been about the police shootings lately, but we've got training tips. We've got legal issues. We've got a lot of stuff on there.
And also, if you're interested in taking a firearms training class, particularly in home defense and concealed carry, we got you covered. Our next class will be August 6th at Three Brothers Arms. So if you would like more information or if you would like to sign up for the class, you can email myself or the judge. It's adam@armedalabama.com, the judge at armedalabama.com. So please go online and email us. And let us know what classes that you're interested in. That's one class that we teach, but we have 3 levels to that handgun defense class, which is concealed carry and home defense, of course, but there are 3 levels to that. And we also have shotgun, and we also do a patrol rifle or a tactical carbine class. So we really enjoy doing that, and we have 3 levels to that. And this really centered around your protection, defense of your family, and defense of your home.
And if you've already emailed us the last few weeks, or if you were one of the people that couldn't get in the last class, we've got you down. We'll email you and confirm you still want to be in it or available for that time. But you've got first dibs on the class because we try to limit it to 10 or under, so we can give you that personal treatment. And it is a little hot then. We want you to come to it, but we'll tell you about the dress when we email you. We want you to be safe, but we don't want you to be too hot. And we provide cold water and drinks and all that. Want to keep you hydrated. And Adam, I think I texted it to you, but we have it on the website, so you ought to be checking the website every week. Our topic tonight, not that your phone calls are limited to it, but these days you can have a hurricane, natural disaster, or you could have somebody, let's say, blow up a power plant, and there could be a cascading effect. That'd be a man-made disaster. And we wanted to talk about the proper firearms for short-term disasters, natural or man-made, and that's 3 weeks or under, not something that's going to last for years, but 3 weeks or under. You need a firearm, obviously, just as much as you need food, but the proper firearms, if you don't have one, if you've got different type of firearms, then you may be set. But we wanted to discuss that a little bit because I know a world of people that they're good folks and they think like us, but they just don't have a firearm.
Absolutely.
And or they have several firearms, but they have maybe enough for one magazine of one magazine full of their ammunition. And hopefully you're not going to use one round. But New Orleans showed us during Katrina that when things go bad, they go real bad because over there, and we've got to get this guy on the show, they were seizing people's firearms. All the more reason to have more than one and to perhaps have one hidden so you won't lose your firearms.
And that's a good point, Judge. If you've been watching the news, I'm sure you've kind of heard, you might have seen the video, James O'Keefe, his video,
sure
or you have heard about it on the radio or read it in an article, how he confronted one of Hillary's delegates at a convention, Mary Bayer.
She was gleeful as she talked about taking away people's gun rights.
Yeah, she said, if your goal is outright gun ban, you need to use terms such as common sense legislation to fool the public. Those were her words. And saying you want to ban guns altogether is going to piss everybody off, is what she said.
Exact quote.
So you have to use terms like common sense legislation.
Oh, yeah, common sense. Well, it's
so I think she just kind of opened up the Democratic playbook and just kind of spilled it all out there. She went on to say that Hillary Clinton will for sure support banning guns.
Absolutely.
They didn't say limiting certain types of firearms or limiting certain types of magazine
what
capacity.
Reasonable person could oppose limiting this type of firearm, and so you try to split off all of us against each other,
right? And be incremental in that.
Yeah, absolutely. But that was really a good, and he's done a lot of good things before, but this maybe was the best.
Oh, it was egregious. And the thing about it is with the Democratic convention, what I thought was just hypocritical and hypocrisy at its worst, as far as the DNC goes, is that they're building a wall around their convention for their safety and the safety of their convention goers.
I don't know what they're concerned about.
But, the same group refuses to build a wall on our border to protect Americans, regular Americans like you and me.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's generally their people that cause the violence. So I don't know what they're concerned about. Of course, the problem is they get fired up, all the real crazy leftists, and then they turn on them. That's what happened in 1968. Those were some of the, if you like watching riots, the Seattle WTO riots in, what were they, 99 or 2001, those were some of the best, in the 1968 Democrat National Committee riots. They were right up there.
So we've got a big show still ahead, and we're going to go to a break here in just a moment. So catch us after the break. You can call or text us 251-343-0106. So we'll be glad to answer any questions that you may have. Be patient with us. Sometimes the lines kind of get clogged up or there's a lot of people we have to get to, but just take your time and we'll get to you. This is Armed Alabama.
Looking for land, commercial space, or a home to purchase? Or do you have real estate that you would like to sell? Then you need to talk with Mamoon Siddiq at RE/MAX Partners, 7221 Grelot Road, Suite B. Mamoon is dedicated to providing his clients trustworthy real estate expertise and professional, dependable service. Whether buying or selling your primary residence or a second home, or relocating to a new neighborhood, Mamoon can help make your home ownership dreams come true. Email Mamoon at remax.net. That's MAMUN at remax.net. When buying a vehicle, don't waste your valuable time. David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota is committed to getting you the best deal on a new, used, or leased car. And David will do that without wasting your time. Don't play the back and forth game. See David Parnell today. Palmer's Toyota, 470 Schillinger Road South. That's David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota, 639-0800, extension 168. Don't forget to see David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota, Schillinger Road, just south of Airport. He won't waste your time.
Step up to the firing line. Armed Alabama is back. Questions, comments, and texts at 343-0106.
I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle. You forgot to say please.
We're gonna say please here on Armed Alabama. Please listen and tell your friends and call us when you're interested. We were talking about kind of propaganda. If you've run across they're not websites, they're on YouTube and Instagram and Twitter. Now this is a propaganda arm of the radical progressive left, and we'll say the Democrat Party. They put out, of course, they put out spoof videos, but the problem is their spoof videos are all against us. Anything that you think is good, they think is bad. In one of the worst, they had a spoof on a young girl being raped. I thought that was one of their better ones. And, of course, they took Trump's speech the other night and spliced it all together, and he appeared to be speaking as if, he was Adolf Hitler or something. But that's the one I was mentioning, Adam, that somebody put one on one of the websites we manage, or one of the Facebook pages, thinking, and people were saying, "Oh, isn't that great?" It was a kind of a dance video of police and new Black Muslim, new Black Panther Party members, Nation of Islam. Oh, that is so nice. Well, it was a joke. By and large, the police that have shot these people have shot criminals and have been exonerated. They're putting, those police officers on an equal par with terrorists. But they were all partying together and holding each other's children. Isn't that nice? These people, the one of the backers and founders is also the founder of the Huffington Post. It ought to tell you something. And if you look at his further background, he gave $10,000, but he split it up. He believes in that kind of thing. To Harry Reid, the last election cycle, also to Barack Obama. I mean, he's on every list. But that's how they operate. They deliberately did it very cleverly to take in people who, remember, it's like when Archie Bunker and the Family came out. That was a left-wing show making fun of, a blue-collar guy in New Jersey, New York, wherever he was. But a lot of people didn't realize they were the ones that the left was laughing at. And that's the same thing. You've got to be alert to all those type things. But that's kind of a different subject. So, Adam, one of the things that concern me is if you had a Great Depression, let's say, you wouldn't have people lining up at soup kitchens or lining up for jobs. I don't think. people are not as inclined to play by the rules as they used to be. I think you would have violence like you did in Ferguson. And you have to have some kind of firearm if that's going to happen. And, I'm covered, obviously, but a lot of people, have really not thought that out. And I'm not talking about a black swan event where it's something so out of the ordinary, so total that we can't even think about it. And if I name one, it's not a black swan event because I've named it. But something that is not a black swan event is a solar flare. Last one we had hit the earth was in 1859, and it made the railroad tracks actually flare up in a lot of places, took down the telegraph lines, etc. But that's a long-term event. If that happened, the Carrington event, if that happened now, that or electromagnetic pulse attack, which is entirely possible, if that kind of thing happened now, we might not recover for years, if at all. I'm talking about, several weeks or less. And, the police, they're going to want to be home with their families, and I don't blame them, and I wouldn't expect them to be there trying to stop stores from being looted or your house from being attacked. That's not their purpose. But, you need something else. And, a lot of people think of AR-15s. That's a decent choice. They're at rock bottom prices right now. Another good choice is the AR-15 that actually shoots 9mm because, frankly, they don't scare, let's say, females as much or men that aren't used to shooting guns.
They're a lot quieter.
There you go. A lot quieter and not as much recoil, and the ammunition's a good bit cheaper, probably a third cheaper than 223s. But contrary to what most people think, a 9mm, especially a full metal jacket, it will go a long way as opposed to a 223, which tends to tumble. But they're good guns. They're a little higher than the regular AR, but they're actually, most of them, to my knowledge, are ARs that have been modified. I think there may be a couple of originals. But they're a pleasure to shoot. And if there's a couple of indoor ranges around here, you can shoot them indoors. And that's the origin of a sub. They're not full automatics, but if it were, it'd be a sub-machine gun because it's taken the calibers, pistol caliber cartridges.
All right. We want to announce tonight that we picked up a new advertiser, and we're excited about that. We wanted to announce that on the air tonight, and that advertiser is Grayson Air Conditioner. They service Mobile and Baldwin counties. They are a certified licensed contractor and is recognized by Alabama Power as a superior solutions dealer.
And they've been around forever.
Yes.
Good people, and to my knowledge, probably 50 years or more.
Grayson Air Conditioning was founded by owner David Grayson in 1977. Their office hours are from 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. They have 6 factory-trained service technicians and are ready to serve your needs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week if need be. Grayson Air Conditioning is a factory-authorized carrier dealer but services all brands, including Mitsubishi ductless mini-split systems. They also, Judge, and this is what I really like, they also carry and service all types of standby home generators.
There you go.
So if the power goes out or for whatever reason, the generator it waits 30, 60, 90 seconds, depending on how it's set, and the generator fires off and you have complete power within your home. So they sell and install Honeywell, but they can
that's a
install
great brand.
all the rest of them.
Yeah.
So that way you don't have to leave your home in case a storm comes or whatever. So be sure and check them out on Facebook, or you can check them out on the web at GraysonAirConditioning.com, or stop by their office. They're located at Mobile at 7200 Cottage Hill Road, next door to the Regions Bank. Or call them at 251-633-5665 to schedule a service call. So be sure and check them out. Support them and our other advertisers, and I'll go ahead and give you a list real quick.
And I was close, 40 years. I was trying to figure it out.
So without these advertisers and sponsors, we would not be able to be on the air, so we want to call them out real quick, and that's David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota, Dr. Justin Foster at Foster's Chiropractic of Tillman's Corner, Mamoon Siddick at Remax Realtors, and McCoy Outdoors, of course. And if you would like to advertise your business on Armed Alabama, or if you would like to contribute to the show, if you like what you hear and you want to contribute, you can contact us or this radio station. You can email us again, adam@armedalabama.com or the judge at armedalabama.com.
And what he means by contribute, we have a couple of benefactors, sponsors, and they would rather not be named, but on another show I do, the one in Missouri, the gun show, we name them, and they don't have anything to sell. They just want to promote gun safety and gun rights, and so they help sponsor the show. And because we were shocked when we got a bill from this station that they actually didn't give the airtime away just for the cause, but they got to keep the lights and the air on here, and maybe we'll get a little more air conditioning once we bring our bill up to date. So out there, we're going to start taking calls here after the bottom of the hour, which we're fast approaching. What is your gun of choice? You know, I've got a Benelli M2. Now, Winchester claims they got one 1/20th of a second faster in cycling. I don't know. That's in shooting 7 rounds. But that, you know, you've got a lot of options with that. If you want to put birdshot in it and disperse a crowd rather than shoot to kill, maybe that's your choice. But you've got a lot of choices out there, but you certainly need to start thinking about it and not just, be one of these people that, like Scarlett O'Hara, I'll think about that another day. Today's the day to think about it. We're in hurricane season right now, and, those things pop up pretty quick.
Yeah, I think people are kind of like firearms the same way they are about trucks. You're a Dodge guy, you're a Chevrolet guy, or you're a Ford person, or a Toyota woman,
right?
Of course, Nissan.
I'm a Smith & Wesson person.
Yeah,
whatever.
so
it's funny because I got my first gun I purchased myself, Smith & Wesson 639, which was the single stack 9mm semi-auto, and great gun, still have it. But soon after that, that was in '83 probably, 2 or 3. But Clinton, they were the first ones that made the deal, first and maybe only, with Bill Clinton to provide the trigger locks and all of that. So they were regarded as a sellout. And I hadn't bought one since. They're probably owned by new people.
They are.
I just, I still remember that.
Well, I don't know if you listened last week or a week before last, but we talked about our president has stock in Smith & Wesson. So, he's out there talking about...
They're buddies of his.
Yeah, he's out there talking about gun control or limiting firearms or whatever, and he has his pension plan tied up in Smith & Wesson.
What a hypocrite. I mean, when they... It's irritating, but I can understand if you're with some left-wing university to divest yourself from gun stocks and, all of this. But then he's actually trying to put them out of business, he says, but he invests in them. That's incredible. That is absolutely incredible. If we didn't have firearms, this country wouldn't exist. The fact is that the British tried to seize our arms. That's the first shot of the Revolutionary War. And had we not had them all over here, we wouldn't be free right now. So, and of course, I'm not so sure that we're any freer than Great Britain. I'm not sure at all. Folks, it's about time we step into the break. Remember our number and call on in. This is Judge Rusty Johnston telling you to call us after the break on Armed Alabama.
FM Talk 106.5, the Gulf Coast Weather Authority, and Dr. Bill Williams.
Look for scattered evening thunderstorms tonight. Low temperatures will be in the mid-70s at daybreak. For Wednesday, partly cloudy with scattered thunderstorms, highs in the upper 80s. And the outlook for Thursday, mostly sunny with a few thunderstorms and highs in the lower 90s. This is meteorologist Dr. Bill Williams for FM Talk 106.5.
FM Talk 106.5, the Gulf Coast Weather Authority.
Former Mobile Mayor Sam Jones may be considering the possibility of running again for the top spot in the city. Hello, everyone. I'm Mel Showers, News 5 for FM Talk 106.5. Jones told News 5 he has gone so far as to get a small group together to weigh his options. Jones says he does not have a timeline as to when he will make a decision. Herschel Hogg and a passenger, Ashlyn Walden, were both killed in an accident on Highway 45 in Mobile County. Authorities say the vehicle they were in left the highway and hit a tree last night. Neither of the victims were wearing seatbelts. Police have not released the name of a 12-year-old girl who drowned last night in Mobile. It happened in the backyard pool of a vacant home on El Dorado Drive in the Morningside community. One neighbor tried to find her but couldn't in the murky water. Neighbors say the undrained pool was an accident waiting to happen. I'm Mel Showers, News 5 for FM Talk 106.5.
Longleaf pine is the South's original pine tree, towering over all others. Vast clear-cutting logging operations in the first half of the last century destroyed these beautiful longleaf forests, some well over 100 years old. Their wood sent to New England, New York, and Europe. Many Southerners have no memory of the magnificent longleaf forests that covered the South. The America's Longleaf Restoration Initiative is a concerted effort to restore and conserve longleaf pine forests. The best part is, it's working. For more info, visit americaslongleaf.org.
You know, I've described Brookside All-Adult Community for years with the beautiful landscape 35 acres of single-level homes and apartments for those seniors 55 and older who are fortunate enough to live independently. Brookside would love to show you how we offer the best service at the most affordable rate in our area. Please call Claudia, our marketing representative, at 776-5999 and allow her to let you tour our beautiful campus and our homes for rent. Living in a senior community can not only be enjoyable and beneficial for those of us who are in our retirement years, but it can be most affordable as well, and at times more affordable than maintaining your own home. Call Claudia today at 776-5999 to see how you can save up to $300 per month off what are already the lowest rates of any senior community around. Call today and see how you could be living at Brookside in West Mobile and enjoying the good life.
Step up to the firing line. Armed Alabama is back. Questions, comments, and texts at 343-0106.
I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. If you are looking for ransom, I can tell you I don't have money. But what I do have are a very particular set of skills. Skills I've acquired over a very long career. Skills that make me a nightmare for people like you. If you let my daughter go now, that'll be the end of it. I will not look for you. I will not pursue you. But if you don't, I will look for you. I will find you. And I will kill you.
Whoa, Tim, what do you think of that? Tim, you're on there. What do you think of that? Tim, I think you're on. What do you think of that?
I do. I like that line.
Tim, let me ask you a question first. What do you think of a lawyer that gets drunk every night that doesn't even know what the law is? I mean, you wouldn't go hire that lawyer to do anything, I wouldn't hope.
No, I wouldn't really think he would be having my best interest at hand if he was in that condition all the time. No.
Well, and especially one that doesn't know the law. That's even worse. Tim,
exactly.
You had a question that I kind of got a briefing on, but I want everybody to hear it. Go ahead.
Sure. You were just talking about guns and preferences, and I have an older Lima 9mm. I think it's made in Spain.
Yeah.
And I bought it back when I just wanted a gun to carry around to the house or have for the home. And I've been wanting to downsize with something that I can carry around. I don't want to carry the 9mm so much as something smaller, just to tote maybe in the car on my person, if you will. What caliber and what brand name? You were mentioning Smith & Wesson and stuff like that. I mean, I don't guess Lima makes a smaller caliber gun that you could put in your pocket, and maybe 22 would be too small.
Well, 380 is what to go with.
what 80?
Yeah, .380. That's
.380.
actually a 9mm short. And what you're looking for is thinness. Is the gun thin enough? And the only thing I'll tell you is the problem with a pocket carry is you need to be able to produce that gun and be ready to fire. And I'm stretching it 3 seconds, 2.5 seconds.
Right.
You're not going to probably be able to do that when you've got, and a lot of people carry it this way, when you've got it in your pocket, usually in a pocket holster. It's going to take you probably 7 seconds to get that out. Depends on how tight.
Do you recommend actually carrying it exposed and maybe one in the chamber or just with the safety on?
It depends on the gun, but exposed, I mean a strong side holster if you're right-handed on the right side. But, carry wear a sport coat, wear a shirt not tucked in over it, not necessarily open carry, because you can get to it so much quicker. Somebody can run 21 feet and be on top of you in 1.5 seconds. And that's the bare minimum of time your brain can process that you are, you're in imminent threat of danger to yourself, and pull that gun and get a shot off. And believe me, that takes a good bit of practice. That's why I'm stretching it. And as to one in the chamber, we kind of talked about that last week, so I'll talk about it again. You need to make sure that your handgun has a firing pin block. They're not that new. I mean, they've probably been around 20 years, but there are a lot of handguns that don't have safeties. And they're perfectly safe because the first pull is maybe first pull of the trigger's 11 pounds or something like that. But just make sure it's got that firing pin block, because that'll make sure, nothing's 100%, but you're 99% sure if you drop it or something happens, it's not going to fire. It's higher than 99% actually. But and you need to get in the habit of indexing your finger along that slide. So when you draw, that finger ought to be along horizontal with that slide. So when you come out with it, your finger shouldn't be anywhere near that trigger. It ought to be along the slide.
And Tim, that's probably the most important thing there, is making sure your finger is not on the trigger until you're up with the weapon, full presentation, and ready to fire. That's the time when your finger comes off the frame or the slide of the weapon down onto the trigger.
Okay.
And they've done studies, Tim, that if it's something like 1/100th of a second or incredible limited amount of time to get your finger from that index position onto the trigger. So you're not giving up any time.
And the next thing I want to add, Tim, is when you practice drawing your weapon from your holster or making a full presentation, as the judge stated, make sure you unload the weapon, take the weapon firearm into another room where you can't introduce any type of ammunition to that firearm, and you practice in there in a separate room where there's no ammunition whatsoever. And also you want to think about, as the judge stated, your cover garment. And however you draw your weapon, where you're going to have the weapon on your side or your back or whatever kind of cover garment you use, you need to think about and practice removing that cover garment up out of the way with your support hand and grabbing the weapon with your strong hand. And that's how you practice. Because if you don't do it that way and become muscle memory, then your immediate response is you're going to go for your firearm and try to grab it through your cover garment, whether it be a jacket or a shirt or anything else like that. I couldn't tell you how many times that I've been around people that say they conceal carry, and we're at the range and we're working with them,
tangled up in it,
and be tangled up in their cover garment.
Oh, wow.
And just completely mentally just short out.
Sure. That moment, I guess, is a lot going on to figure out what to do next, and you need to be really, like you said, in the habit of doing what you need to do. Let me ask you, and I think this is probably a hard question for you to answer. At what point, and I guess it's going to be individual at every point. I mean, I see the police have this problem when they're wrestling a bad guy on TV, like you were mentioning earlier. At what point do you decide, once you've been jumped, once you're on the ground, once you pull your gun, do you start firing? Do you show the gun first and try to, defend yourself by just showing the gun, or do you just start taking off and letting one or two go
we knew that,
in the air or at them?
We would be, well, the law says if you fear that you're It has to be reasonable, but it's looking through your eyes. If you're in fear of imminent threat of death or serious physical injury, which could mean, being hit over the head and having brain injury, or even a permanent scarring, where it is a permanent loss of physical ability. So serious physical injury or death, when it's an imminent threat of that. Now, imminent is one of those things kind of that defies logic, but you'll know it when it happens. It's not when it's 5 minutes away. It's probably not when it's 5 seconds away, but you're getting pretty close.
Yeah, I think I would rather be on the safe side to say that I made the choice before they make a choice.
Yeah.
Okay, I appreciate you.
Thank you for calling.
Everybody understands that this is not, carry a gun and be, stronger than the other person. But if something happens to you, you're prepared to help yourself or help your fellow man.
That's right. That's right. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you,
yeah.
Yes, sir.
Adam, actually, people that carry guns are safer and less reluctant to get into trouble because they know the consequences that could result from that. I mean, that's statistically all over the country because they know that, you pull that trigger too soon, what could happen. And that's why I'm afraid a lot of people that legally could be carrying don't. We've talked to too many because they're just concerned what happens if, using that word imminent. That's something a jury might struggle with for hours. Was it imminent or not, or what? And they've got to decide that within a second, 2 seconds.
Absolutely. I want to tag on to what another thing that Tim had brought up was talking about firing rounds in the air, or what he was getting at was warning shots. And I want to make sure we address that we recommend that you do not fire a warning shot or do not fire rounds in the air because you are responsible for that firearm and every round that's in it. So if you have to use your firearm or if you have to pull it in defense of yourself, you need to be prepared to utilize that weapon in defense of yourself or your family, but do not be firing warning shots.
Oh, yeah. And if they happen to run away when you present your gun, that's great. You hadn't hurt anybody. But you need to call the authorities and report that you've had somebody attack you or whatever. But
I would go even say even more than that. If you had to draw your firearm to try to get somebody away, and a lot of times that happens, you hear, well, I had to draw my firearm because this person would not leave me alone. They were threatening me, and they moved off. Then you still want to call the authorities because that person is still in the area.
They're dangerous to others.
They're dangerous. They're dangerous to others. So you may have shoot them off, but they're going to go to the next person they feel is a target. So you definitely want to call authorities. A lot of times in that kind of situation, you find yourself really overwhelmed with adrenaline. I mean, you're shaking. You're not thinking clearly. You kind of get that tunnel vision. But as soon as you realize what's going on, you need to make sure you call the authorities and report just what had transpired.
Adam, on the YouTube channel, I've got a video. God love him. But he hesitated so much, he really could have been hurt. And it's labeled on our YouTube channel, Ohio video shows most police officers do not want to shoot a person, a suspect. And this poor police officer is approached by what appears to be a homeless derelict, asking him a question on the interstate. And the derelict pulls out a dagger and tries to stab him. For 5 minutes, he's backing up, saying, "Get on the ground, get on the ground." He won't fire, even though the guy finally says, "Shoot me, shoot me." He was trying to suicide by cop. It's a real opposite of what you normally think.
We have a couple more phone calls. We'll go ahead and get one real quick. Ed, welcome to Armed Alabama.
Hi, how you doing, Judge?
Hey, fine, Ed.
I've got a gun as a trade, and I just looked at it. Well, I didn't get it recently, but it says it's B West from Tucson, Arizona, and it's a 9mm.
Okay.
And it was in small print on the slide. It says "Made in China."
Oh no.
Yeah.
And I guess they mean the People's Republic of China.
I assume. I guess I don't know when it was made, but is that? I haven't shot it yet, and it's a 9mm and it has a good weight to it, and it's a little bit thinner than most American-made guns.
Uh-huh.
But I was wondering if I should trade that off and get a which I'm thinking I probably should, get an American-made gun.
Well, I would. You've had other Chinese products, Break and et cetera.
Right.
I would be concerned about that. So I'd trade it and get rid of it. I just wouldn't
How much
trust
do you
it.
think that would bring?
It's a 9mm. I would think, and it was used when you bought it or traded it?
Yes.
I mean, I would think you're talking probably 100 and a quarter, 150 at the most, because I know of, name brands.
Right.
The Smith & Wesson I was talking to you earlier, it's probably a $200, sale. But, who knows?
It's
Go on Gunbroker and look.
Yeah,
and
it's what anybody will sell it for and what anybody would buy it for. It's kind of hard to put a value on that. Appreciate the call, Ed.
Folks
Thank
out
you.
there at one of your sponsors be able to help me out there?
They would, but I don't think any more than you can do on your computer because the actual sales price, gunbroker.com, go on there and see what they're selling for.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely check out McCoy's if you have an opportunity because they have a huge selection
They
of
got
McCoy Outdoors.
used guns, too, if you're interested.
Yes. Thank you for the call, Ed.
Okay.
Step into a break here, Ed. I'm sorry.
We'll be right back. You can call us at 251-343-0106. This is Armed Alabama.
If your spine is in a bind, it's time to be aligned. For 20 years, Dr. Justin Foster has been diagnosing and taking care of spinal problems. Misaligned vertebrae can hurt due to a strain or sprain from an accident, or be injured by repeated use and can lead to a pinched nerve if not fixed. Pinched nerves can cause a series of discomforts including decreased flexibility, headaches, muscle, joint, disc, and nerve pain. Foster Chiropractic of Tillman's Corner, easy to find across from Lowe's off Rangeline.
Shop the grand opening sale at the Sleep Center's newest location at McGowan Park. For the best service, best selection, and best prices, shop the Sleep Center. Sealy Posturepedic sets just $5.99. Sealy Optimum sets just $9.99. Stearns & Foster Queen sets $12.99. And Tempur-Pedic Queen sets just $19.99. Come see the new Tempur Breeze collection now available at the Sleep Center, Mobile's mattress experts. Open 7 days a week with 2 locations to better serve you. In the Yester Oaks Shopping Center and the grand opening going on now in McGowan Park.
You owe over $10,000 in back taxes. You've called every tax firm out there. They all say the same thing, making promises they never keep, and you're sick of it. What you really need is a new start on your back taxes. If you're faced with garnishments, levies, audits, or years of unfiled tax returns, we'll fight to get you the new start you deserve. Call 1-800-266-1432. Our New Start program will stop collection efforts, remove any liens the IRS has in place, and help you reduce your back taxes by as much as 80%. That's right, 80%. Don't wait until another tax season ends and another year of penalties and interest are added to your balance. If you owe at least $10,000 to the IRS and need a new start on your back taxes, call 1-800-266-1432. That's 1-800-266-1432. Let the professionals at Coast One Financial Group fight to get you the new start you deserve. Again, that's 1-800-266-1432.
Adventure is waiting for you in Alabama State Park. So pack your bags. With so much to explore, there's something for everybody. Whether you're hiking the foothills of the Appalachians or wading into the warm waters of the Gulf, finding a vacation you and your family will love comes naturally at any one of our Alabama State Parks. To learn more, call 800-ALA-PARK or visit alapark.com. Sponsored by the Alabama State Parks, the Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
Step up to the firing line. Armed Alabama is back. Questions, comments, and texts at 343-0106.
I mean to kill you in 1 minute, Ned, or see you hanged in Fort Smith at Judge Parker's convenience. Which'll it be?
I call that bold talk for a one-eyed fat man.
Sometime when you want to have a little fun, get the old True Grit, which that one was, and get the new True Grit with Bo Bridges, am I right? And watch them back to back. They're both, I really can't say the new one. The new one's almost as good as the old one. I mean, they're both good movies. And I had a marathon night and watched them back to back. All right, let's take our next caller there. Is it Billy?
Yes, sir.
Hey,
Billy.
thank you for calling.
Hey, look, back when 26 years ago when I was in college, I made a mistake and got a felony, and I'm stupid. But anyway, I was wondering, is there a process I can get my rights back to be able to take my kids hunting, to have my guns and, take them hunting? Or...
There is. Now, let me ask you, I don't want to get into specifics, but was it a felony involving violence, or was it?
No, sir.
Okay.
It was, no, sir.
What you need to do then is, and I don't have it at my fingertips, you need to call in Montgomery, the Alabama Board of Pardons and Paroles, and tell them you want to talk to somebody in their pardon division.
Okay.
Pardon division, and talk to them about a pardon. You've jumped over one of the hurdles, length of time, and I assume you stayed out of trouble since then.
Yes, I've had one speeding ticket in 26 years.
Yeah, they wouldn't even look at that. You got some people that immediately, a year after they've been, let's say, put on probation for something, they want to look into a pardon. That's not even something they really consider. Getting your voting rights back is much easier, but to get a pardon with firearms rights restored, you're kind of in the range. You've 26 years, you hadn't been in any trouble, you've been a decent person. They'll consider that. So Alabama Board of Pardons and Paroles, and then ask for somebody in their pardon division.
Okay.
And you can look at the web, but the website is not that good at directing you. I looked recently, so
I've kind of looked and try to research it, and it's kind of like you said, it's kind of hard to figure out what you need to do there.
Right.
Okay.
I looked in the code and got the information, so you're in the range where somebody they would consider you, a good candidate.
Okay.
From what I know.
Well, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Enjoy your show.
Thanks.
Thank you, Billy. We get a lot of calls, especially tonight, kind of long-winded on some of these calls, but we want to make sure everybody understands what we're saying and be crystal clear on our intent. If you want to call the studio, it's 251-343-0106. If you have questions regarding firearms, concealed carry, home defense, or anything of Second Amendment nature, go ahead and give us a call.
And we got a second line. If you disagree with us, call 1-800-623-1006. 1-800-623-1006. That's the critics line.
So if you call in, you have to wait a little bit. Just hang on with us. We're going to get to you. We just got a lot of phone calls, but we want to make sure we get to everyone. Our next caller is Mary. Mary, what you got for us tonight?
Hey, guys. How are y'all doing?
Fine. How about you?
Doing well. I want to thank you and ask your listeners to take heed in what you guys said just a few minutes ago about any time you draw your weapon, even if the person flees or leaves or whatever, to call the police, because I struggle with the situation where I had to pull my firearm in defense of me and my children, and I did not report the incidents to the police, and I worry because the person that, or the people that were being the aggressors in this situation were truck drivers. And it happened in front of Sam's Wholesale right here in Mobile. And it was on a Black Friday.
Oh, wow.
And, yes, and the gentleman, my daughter was getting married. I know y'all are running out of time, but we went and tried on dresses, and we were in the parking lot. It was late. Lights were out. I heard some gentlemen speaking. I tried to rush my daughter.
I'll stop
to their
you
vehicles.
just like I did the police in court. They're not gentlemen if they were bothering you at night.
Well, the things that they were saying in our direction, at first I kind of looked around to see if there was somebody else that they were addressing.
Right.
But the crudeness and the remarks that they were making were more than insulting.
Oh, my gosh.
And as they approached, they got closer, and as I realized, they were coming toward us. And I first verbally told them to leave, to go, to move, to shut up. I flagged with my arms. I let them know that they were not welcome, but they kept advancing. And like you said just a few minutes ago, 21 seconds or 21 feet or whatever, in just a few seconds, they were on us like that.
Good grief.
When I unholstered my weapon and pulled it, the gentleman that was in front froze immediately. The gentleman behind him did not realize it until he stepped around, and then he froze.
Wow.
And they were like, "Oh, we were just joking," and I was like, "I'm not."
Right.
They took off running and got into a 18-wheeler that was parked in the parking lot.
Good grief.
And so I just rushed my daughters into their vehicles, got them going, and I left.
Well, if it's any consolation, I don't think most people call the police after an incident. So try not to blame yourselves. But
I just worry if they were in a truck. There's no telling how many other women that they may, or anyone that they may have victimized. And I didn't report it. If I would have had my bearings, but I was so angry that I had to unholster my weapon to two grown men to get them to go away, to shut their mouths.
Yeah.
That maybe if I'd have went by the truck and got their Department of Transportation numbers, I could have called and reported it, got a number off the side of the
you
truck.
had all
but
that
then I got to
adrenaline
thinking,
in your
if I would have
system.
done all of that and I would have called that number, if he was an independent contractor, I'd have been talking to him, and then he'd have had my number on his phone. So just for your listeners, just for, this happened a couple of years ago. I still struggle with now all the things I should have, could have, would have done. That's the one thing I would have done. I would have immediately got in my vehicle, made a safe distance, and then called the police and reported it.
Right. Well, thank you for calling, because your firsthand account of being saved by carrying a gun and taking advice, but why you should take the advice. Thank you so much, and don't blame yourself. I know it's easy for me to say, but good for you.
So, just want to clarify, they were talking nasty, or were they making threats, lewd comments, or?
They were offering money for services. Do you understand that line of talk? Okay, that's where they were. It was myself and then my two younger daughters.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't have any business coming after you, because it sounded like they were going to do more than come up and chat.
Well, the thing is...
Well, if I would not have had a firearm to defend myself, would it have been all fun and games at the end? It was a chance I was not willing to take with my children present.
Right. Well, I think the key thing was there, that what you said is you said that you told them to get away, to leave you alone, and they kept advancing. That's a threshold there, and I think the judge can probably talk to that better than I can. That was a threshold they crossed.
Got to take a hard break, Mary. Thank you for calling. We got a break for the top of the hour. Join us on the other side of the hour with Armed Alabama.
Like the hippies out in San Francisco do. And I'm proud to be an Okie from Muskogee.
When I was a little bitty baby, my mama would rock me in that cradle in them old cotton fields back home. When I was a little bitty baby, my mama would rock me in that cradle in them old cotton fields back home. Oh, when them cotton bolls get rotten, you couldn't pick very much cotton in them old cotton fields back home. It was down in Louisiana, just about a mile from Texarkana, in them old cotton fields back home. It may sound a little bit funny, but you didn't make very much money in them old cotton fields back home. It may sound a little bit funny, but you didn't make very much money in them old cotton fields back home. Oh, when them cotton bolls get rotten, you couldn't pick very much cotton in them old cotton fields back home. It was down in Louisiana, just about a mile from Texarkana, in them old cotton fields back home. When I was a little bitty baby, my mama would rock me in that cradle in them old cotton fields back home. When I was a little bitty baby, my mama would rock me in that cradle in them old cotton fields back home. Oh, when them cotton bolls get rotten, you couldn't pick very much cotton in them old cotton fields back home. It was down in Louisiana, just about a mile from Texarkana, in them old cotton fields back home. In them old cotton fields back home.
The safety is off. There's a round in the chamber. This is Armed Alabama. Sponsored by McCoy Outdoor Company, Mobile's hometown full-line outdoor sporting products and gear store. An interactive talk show discussing self-defense, product reviews, shooting tips, safety, and more. Your calls, comments, and texts welcome at 343-0106. Now, here are your hosts, retired judge and certified NRA instructor Rusty Johnston and certified NRA law enforcement instructor Adam Strange.
They're gonna pry these guns right out of my hands when they come to take them away. I believe in the rights that my fathers gave me when they signed the Constitution that day. No misguided president or crooked politician with a greasy pocket be spared. When the hard-working man gets tired of your cry, it's gonna rain wrath, beware. Don't tread on me, I'm American free. You're not gonna take it away. I stand up to fight for my freedoms and rights. That's a price you'll have to pay. Don't tread on me, I'm American free. Red-blooded to the core. You ain't ever had a fight in your life like the fight that you're itching for.
All right, welcome back to Armed Alabama. That was Buck Allen's song, Don't Tread on Me. Buck Allen is a local singer-songwriter. Be sure and check him out on his Facebook page. That's Buck Allen, singer-songwriter, and that's Facebook. And go on there and tell him how much you like his song. And he's got a lot of other songs that's just as good as that. And we appreciate him for allowing us to use his song. It's kind of become our theme song. So the more we listen to it, the more we like it. And we've definitely got a lot of comments about it. Judge, before we went to the break, we heard a really compelling story about a lady who had to use her firearm in defense of herself and her girls, as she said.
Right.
So, wow, you could hear the emotion in her voice, and she got upset just by talking about it and relaying what had happened. So you could tell that she was really a strong person. I want to emphasize that she had got in her mind that she was going to use that firearm to defend herself and defend her family, and she concealed carry. And she had already wrapped her head around it, that she was going to do what she had to do to defend herself. She told those guys, hey, get away, leave me alone. They kept approaching, making lewd sexual comments, insinuating they was going to pay for, I think, sexual favors. So, and that was completely unwarranted. in the middle of the night with her children.
Me, Cornered Cat. There's a good website for ladies called The Cornered Cat. And the idea is when you get cornered, a mother especially, you will fight to the death to defend your children and then in the end yourself. And, oftentimes the reasoning for reporting something like that is, well, the criminal, the trash, the thug that did that, he might go and report you for, in some states it's called brandishing, here, disorderly conduct. Nobody like that is going to go and call and report you for anything. The reason to do it, if you have the wherewithal, is because they may be, a dangerous person and they need to be apprehended. But certainly understand not doing it. And just about every story I've heard like that, and we've heard a number in our classes,
the judge
I don't know if anybody's reported.
Right. Judge, you and I, we've been teaching classes for a long time. Both of us are a certified firearms instructor. And for a lot of people that are just joining us and listening to us for the first time, we have a 2-hour show now. And we've been teaching a class a long time, probably in the neighborhood of 570 or 600 people, somewhere around there has gone through our program. And how many times have we taught classes that women kind of come off to the side during a break and say, hey, let me tell you what happened to me. And some of these stories are absolutely heartbreaking and heart-wrenching. And it's bad that it took these bad situations these women share with us. It was rape. Women was broken into, or they were attacked getting in their car, and they were raped, sodomized. I mean, just horrific, vicious thing. One lady was talking about her and her whole family. Both her daughters. She had 2 daughters. Both children, girls, were raped.
Right.
And it was just awful. And each one of them in each of those situations bought a firearm, got training, and, wanted more training, and, of course, they came to us.
And I think that helps them. They're being proactive.
Yes.
One thing that's always impressed me, and I've known that from, being a circuit judge for 18 years, is how quick these things happen.
Yes.
They're always just lightning fast. A woman told me one time that, she was a handgun carrier, and I was emphasizing don't need to have it in the purse. You need to have it on you. And she said the minute she turned her car off and started opening the door and unlocked all the doors, somebody just leapt in on top of her from the passenger side. It was that fast. And, the other thing is and I'm bad too, you got to be aware of your surroundings. We've got so many distractions now with all the electronic devices.
Cell phones,
the smartphones, everything. And then people aren't observant about who is that person that appears to be keeping up with me. And being from the South, we tend to be maybe more polite than we ought to be. Whereas if you were in New Jersey and somebody was following you, you'd say, get the F out of here. And, there's no problem about doing that, too. If you've got somebody suspicious, you don't have to shake their hand, a homeless person. Getting in a hand lock with somebody is a terrible position to be in. Just say, get out of here. Don't put up – if somebody comes to your door that you don't know, don't shake their hand and spend time with them. Say, get out of here. I don't have the time for you. That's against the way we were brought up, but you just got to be that way for safety.
And, Judge, just for our new listeners, you were a former circuit court judge.
From 97 to last year, 2015, here in what we call the 13th Judicial Circuit, Mobile County. So a lot of your listeners voted for me since I never had an opponent. During part of that time, almost 10 years, I was the director of our court police, which was a 30 to 33 person police force that not only handled Government Plaza, the Correction Center, and the Strickland Youth Center. So I handled everything associated with them, supervised the police chief. I'd go to some seminars, the security of the building, because that was during 9/11. So I was familiar with the use of force. I did that policy manual, actually. And then I need to look this up. Maybe 7-8 years ago, I got my NRA pistol revolver certification, and then a year after, a certification called Personal Protection in the Home, which is home hardening and self-defense in the home. And like I say, you and I have probably taught, it's probably closer to 700 people.
Probably so. We should have kept better records.
Self-defense, yeah, absolutely. And it's not range shooting, self-defense, gunfighting on the street.
And there's a big difference in that. Some people say, hey, we want to come take your gun safety course. Yeah, we go over gun safety and we espouse that and to the nth degree. But what we teach is defense class. It's a firearms defense class for concealed carry, home defense, and that could be for handgun, shotgun, or patrol rifle, which is like an AR-15 or a AK-47 copy or something like that.
We made a great team because you were more of the outside instructor, and I was more of the legal, all that, and then and of course I'd help you out there. And then we had a period of time where you had a new job, and I was doing it solo for about a year, so I had to do the whole day. Our class is 8 hours long, of course, and I would do the legal because people are concerned about the legal portion. And then you had so much training. You're a NRA law enforcement instructor, which means you can teach police officers, post-certified police officers, and give them their training, which the NRA does a lot of. So.
And it's a good program. I recommend that for any law enforcement officers that are listening. It's a really good program. It's a 44-hour program. They give these classes all over the United States, really all over the world. As a matter of fact, the NRA law enforcement certification is recognized internationally. So it's a really good program, and they have those classes for law enforcement, retired military, retired law enforcement, current military, or private security. Or a contractor as myself. You can go and sign up and take those courses for a handgun, shotgun, and patrol rifle. They even have select fire
Thomas,
courses.
we're going to be with you after the break. We got to take our break now. We'll be right back with you on Armed Alabama.
Looking for land, commercial space, or a home to purchase? Or do you have real estate that you would like to sell? Then you need to talk with Matt Moon, Siddick, at RE/MAX Partners, 7221 Grelot Road, Suite B. Matt Moon is dedicated to providing his clients trustworthy real estate expertise and professional, dependable service. Whether buying or selling your primary residence or a second home, or relocating to a new neighborhood, Matt Moon can help make your home ownership dreams come true. Email Mamoon at remax.net. That's MAMUN at remax.net. When buying a vehicle, don't waste your valuable time. David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota is committed to getting you the best deal on a new, used, or leased car. And David will do that without wasting your time. Don't play the back and forth game. See David Parnell today. Palmer's Toyota, 470 Schillinger Road South. That's David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota, 639-0800, extension 168. Don't forget to see David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota, Schillinger Road, just south of Airport. He won't waste your time.
Step up to the firing line. Armed Alabama is back. Questions, comments, and texts at 343-0106.
How you boys put those guns down?
Say what?
Well, we're not just gonna let you walk out of here.
Who's we, sucker?
Smith and Wesson and me.
All right, welcome to Armed Alabama. Glad you can join us this evening. We're in our second hour of our 2-hour program, and we're excited to have 2 hours, and it actually gives us a chance to really communicate what we wanted. We've just got so much to say. It always just kind of get bombarded when we come in here.
But there's so many myths and misconceptions that get woven in to our calls. And, we were talking about around in the chamber, and Thomas, we're getting right to you. And I discovered, because we did the same topic on the gun show up in Springfield, that there are a lot of firearms owner's manuals that it'll have in the first part of the manual, you should never carry this firearm with a round in the chamber, there's a danger, and they'll go into that, but after they've mentioned that it has a firing pin block. And then the last part of the manual, it says this is one of the safest firearms in the world. You can carry it with you in your holster. Rest assured that will never go off, and it won't go off if dropped, because it has a firing pin block and it's been tested. And
so they tell you don't carry the round in the chamber. Then at the end of it, they tell you to carry the round in the chamber and it's safe.
Yeah.
It's the
having
lawyers.
their cake and eating it too.
Yeah, you and I discussed this, and it's the lawyers is kind of getting their way on that. But we definitely recommend carrying your firearm with a round in the chamber. And if you don't feel comfortable doing that, then you need to practice and you need to train. All right. Well, the next caller is Thomas. Thomas, welcome to Armed Alabama. Glad you could join us tonight.
Hey, thanks a lot, fellas, and thank you for the show too. It's really great to spread the word on concealed carry and people's right to self-defense.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
So the question is, or your opinion on this. Say you were in a place where you were legally prohibited, or it was illegal to carry a firearm, say a school or a political rally or a bar or something like that, and in that event or area, a bad guy appeared, whether wielding a knife or an active shooter, or any kind of scenario that could cause major bodily harm to anyone in that vicinity, and someone else in that vicinity stopped that bad guy with a firearm. Do you think that person that stopped the bad guy would suffer any repercussions?
Well, I thought we were talking about you, so let's make us talking about you. That's better. I actually had a case very similar to that, so kind of familiar with it. Number one, let's get to a place that's really off limits. Let's say an airport after check-in, or a federal courthouse or a state courthouse, because a bar you're not prohibited from carrying if you have a permit. And I think you mentioned
a lot of people don't realize that, Judge.
Yeah, I'll give you the code section in a minute. But the only thing that happens is if you're carrying illegally. Let's say you're under the let's say that you're a criminal and you don't even have the right to carry, a felon, or you're in a place you shouldn't be. You give up the right to your stand your ground rights. But that's so insignificant. So that's not even a crime. It's just that that defense you have, or positive assertion that in court, if you're ever charged, you're not going to be charged if you just let's make up some kooky scenario. Let's say you just happen to walk into the atrium of Government Plaza with a firearm. Well, atrium, you're fine, but you walk past the magnetometers when nobody's there. All right, and but some lunatic is in there and he starts stabbing people with a knife, and you shoot him, stop him, he dies. No, you're probably going to get a medal.
Okay.
It's not like, you remember when New York, when some of these shootings, very justifiable would happen, they would charge them with a gun offense. They wouldn't charge them with the actual act of shooting. It would be, well, you were fine, you were justified in doing the shooting, but you shouldn't have had that gun in New York City because that was illegal. So they would get around it. And I might want to mention, if you're into, if you have a smartphone and you're kind of into those things, there is a $1.99 app. And listen, I've never put an app on a smartphone because I just don't like dealing with stuff that small, that is called CCW, and is from a company called Workman's something. I'll find it in a second. It will tell you, and it'll take you to the code of your state, and it'll take you, for instance, I've got Alabama up, and it will say I'm punching prohibited areas, and that's an Alabama code 13A-11-612. And, for instance, inside the building of a police, sheriff, or highway patrol station, you go in there to file a report, and I assume they don't have magnetometers, whatever. Let's use your scenario. And some lunatic comes in there and starts shooting, and you take him out with your gun. No, nothing's going to happen to you. It's just not going to happen because any person, the penalty for this, any person violating any or all the provisions of this section shall be guilty of a misdemeanor and shall be punished as provided by law. So that's up to a year. You wouldn't even lose your gun rights with that. But nobody would, like I say, they would congratulate you. But look at that app. It's called CCW. And it'll, whatever state you're going to, it'll have the law of their state. It'll say where your permit is valid. And I know it's called Workmen's. I think it's Workmen's something LLC, because there's several that are kind of named something similar. But it's $199, and it's for either Android phones or iPhones.
All right. Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Thomas, for your call.
All right. Thanks, fellas.
Yeah.
All right, next caller, Glenn. Glenn's glad you could hang with us. Sorry for the high call volume, but we appreciate you hanging on because your call is important. What you got for us?
Yeah, hello, gentlemen. How you doing?
Hey.
All right.
Hey, business first. I got two things, but business first here. Have you guys heard of a video? It came out from the group called Project Veritas. It came out yesterday. For your listeners who don't know who Project Veritas is, it was started by a man named James O'Keefe. He's a guy that did several videos, one of which was he documented himself crossing into the Mexico border, or into Mexico, across the border, and then he dressed up as Osama bin Laden.
Yeah, I remember
crossed
that.
back over to show how open our borders was. Also,
he wasn't stopped, Glenn. That's what you're saying. He dressed as Osama bin Laden, but wasn't stopped.
That's right. And he also did it for the north too, as well. He was on Lake Erie, and he also did the same thing, dressed up as like a terrorist, like an Islamic jihadist. Was on a boat, had a bag on him, a backpack, a big one. He went into Cleveland, walked into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and dropped out the bag. No one stopped him.
And he's the one that went into the the Planned Parenthood places, dressed up like he was a pimp, and said, "I've got some, 13-year-old girls that may need this." So yeah, it's coming to mind now. He's really done some good in a kind of a spoof sort of way.
Exactly. Well, he's gone over and beyond now. He has video that's proof positive, and I want your listeners to really listen up here, because this is important, in which there was a Project Veritas journalist on hidden camera. I believe it came out yesterday, just yesterday. You can YouTube Project Veritas Hillary delegate. I think it'll come up. It's about a 38-second a minute video.
Yeah, that's
okay?
The woman's name is Bear, I think.
Real quick.
1 minute, Glenn.
I'm sorry?
1 minute. Go ahead.
Go ahead,
Glenn. Okay, you got 1 minute.
Keep talking. You got 1 minute to go.
Oh, 1 minute. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
In his video, he basically tells the Hillary delegate tells him that the terminology common sense gun control legislation really means that Hillary, if she becomes president, wants to take all guns.
Yes.
It's a lie. It's a big, huge lie. And she admits it on camera. That's the big game.
That's common sense for them.
Well, it's all a big lie. They tell us, we don't want to take all your guns, just some of it. But the real game is we want to take it all.
That's the end game, Glenn.
Yeah.
That's the end game. That's right.
Wow. Thank you, Glenn.
Thank you for calling
so
in.
much.
Appreciate
Thank you for listening, too.
Hey, Glenn?
Yes.
Just for listeners, you joined us last week on the show, so we appreciate you calling in and adding that tonight.
Yeah, no problem.
And we definitely want to have you back again sometime.
I was going to act. That was just a new caller.
Yeah, well, he just called right in, but I definitely wanted to give him kudos. And
thank you, Glenn.
He did a good job. Thank you.
All right. We'll see you guys.
Take care.
All right.
Matter of fact, it was Glenn that showed me the CCW program.
Yes.
And I really thank him for that.
Like, it's turned out to be a helpful app.
It really has been.
I'm like you. I don't ever buy apps or anything else like that.
I've got a computer geek who's on the gun show with me checking out the technical aspects, because I don't know anything about that. The legal, they're looking real good.
Yeah, and the mobile market is huge.
Oh, yeah.
So if you have a software app or you're trying to design software and you don't have it on mobile format, so it can be read or seen on a mobile phone, you're not in business.
I can't imagine how there could be any profit in any of these things.
Yeah, well, I just want to make sure that our listeners are aware we don't get any profit from that CCW app, but we just wanted to bring it to you and let you know about it.
Oh, yeah, yeah. CCW from Workman's something LLC. I'll find the.
So we still have 30 minutes left in the show. If you want to call in or text us, if you got questions, be sure and do so. 251-343-0106. We love to hear from you. We love to hear what you may add to the show or questions you have. We really get a kick out of talking to you, the listeners, and you sharing what you have with us. We really enjoy that, and it gives us a chance to have our dialogue as well. We've got so much stuff that we hadn't even got to yet on our radio show, information that we want to bring you, current news, and more things about different firearms and the firearms that you may like. But join us after the break. This is Armed Alabama.
They're walking on the fighting side of me, running down a way of life our fighting men have fought and died to keep. If you don't love it, leave it. Let this song that I'm singing be a warning. When you're
FM Talk 106.5, the Gulf Coast Weather Authority, and Dr. Bill Williams.
We'll look for scattered evening thunderstorms tonight. Low temperatures will be in the mid-70s at daybreak. For Wednesday, partly cloudy with scattered thunderstorms, highs in the upper 80s. And the outlook for Thursday, mostly sunny with a few thunderstorms and highs in the lower 90s. This is meteorologist Dr. Bill Williams for FM Talk 106.5.
FM Talk 106.5, the Gulf Coast Weather Authority.
Former Mobile Mayor Sam Jones may be considering the possibility of running again for the top spot in the city. Hello, everyone. I'm Mel Showers, News 5 for FM Talk 106.5. Jones told News 5 he has gone so far as to get a small group together to weigh his options. Jones says he does not have a timeline as to when he will make a decision. Herschel Hogg and a passenger, Ashlyn Walden, were both killed in an accident on Highway 45 in Mobile County. Authorities say the vehicle they were in left the highway and hit a tree last night. Neither of the victims were wearing seatbelts. Police have not released the name of a 12-year-old girl who drowned last night in Mobile. It happened in the backyard pool of a vacant home on El Dorado Drive in the Morningside community. One neighbor tried to find her but couldn't in the murky water. Neighbors say the undrained pool was an accident waiting to happen. I'm Mel Showers, News 5 for FM Talk 106.5.
Longleaf pine is the South's original pine tree, towering over all others. Vast clear-cutting logging operations in the first half of the last century destroyed these beautiful longleaf forests, some well over 100 years old. Their wood sent to New England, New York, and Europe. Many Southerners have no memory of the magnificent longleaf forests that covered the South. The America's Longleaf Restoration Initiative is a concerted effort to restore and conserve longleaf pine forests. The best part is, it's working. For more info, visit americaslongleaf.org.
Hi, everybody. We really try not to sing too much because we are sensitive to the fact that Jolene's voice can be painful to listen to.
Hey, you're the one.
In any event, we're just so excited about all the feedback we've been getting since Jack Green became part of eNational.
Super Jack can help you get your budget back on track.
He'll save you some cash, and that's no bull.
Jack Green Insurance is now part of eNational.
Call now. Save cash with Super Jack.
The Jack Green Insurance Agency has joined forces with eNational Insurance and has become one big money-saving powerhouse.
Homeowners, automobile, workers' comp, commercial liability, and all types of business insurance. See how much money you could be saving. It's time you get a grip on those rising insurance premiums.
What are you waiting for? Are you worried you're going to have trouble thinking of ways to spend the extra money you'll save?
Jack Green saves you green. Call for a quote today. The Jack Green Insurance Agency in Mobile, 344-5393.
Step up to the firing line. Armed Alabama is back. Questions, comments, and texts at 343-0106.
Survival kit contents check. In them you'll find 145 caliber automatic, 2 boxes of ammunition, 4 days concentrated emergency rations, 1 drug issue containing antibiotics, morphine, vitamin pills, pep pills, sleeping pills, tranquilizer pills, 1 miniature combination Russian phrase book and Bible, $100 in rubles, $100 in gold, 9 packs of chewing gum, 1 issue of prophylactics, 3 lipsticks, 3 pair of nylon stockings. Shoot, a fella could have...
Adam, the topic of the show is firearms for man-made or natural disasters, and that kit that Slim Pickens, had put together there, or the Air Force did, that sounds like the perfect survival kit. And they used to have them at one time down at McCoy's, all that put together, wrapped up in one package.
I think that would be a good survival kit for a week at the Democrat National Convention.
Well, I imagine that it's kind of like being down in Brazil for the Olympics.
Yeah.
You got to watch out for all the social diseases that are floating around and all the criminals. And then half the criminals have delegate credentials.
That sounds like DNC, yeah.
So, but, McCoy's, for all of your sporting needs, it's not just for hunters. That's what I'm trying to get across. If you're a shooter and you like just target shooting or self-defense shooting, they got everything you could possibly want down there. And you won't they won't sell you a gun unless, I guess they could order one. You won't mistakenly buy a gun from them that's made in the People's Republic of China. And I say that with tongue in cheek, the most murderous regime in the history of the world, and continue to be, because we all know they have a history of poor quality products. They're going to sell you good quality products down there, whether it's a rifle, whether it's a shotgun, or a concealed carry firearm. They're going to sell you quality, both new, and they usually have a decent selection of used. And McCoy's for all your needs, and they're on Spring Hill Avenue, and just west of on Spring Hill Avenue, just west of where I-65 passes over Spring Hill Avenue, and that's what they call the Spring Hill Shopping Center there. McCoy's for all your outdoor needs. That's a hometown store, which I think is important these days.
It is a hometown store. And we went in there and talked to Wes and some of the others there at McCoy's Outdoor, and we were talking about handguns, and I was absolutely shocked when Wes said, hey, my favorite guns, or one of my favorite guns, is your Steyr M9, which I was shocked because that's one of my favorite. Yeah, I have one. That's one of my favorite firearms. It's extremely ergonomic, and it is made to draw. It's very slim. It's easy to conceal carry. It's very comfortable to carry, but it's easy to draw and full presentation and acquire a target very, very fast.
And a lot of them are assembled out past Bessemer, a little west of Bessemer. They have a plant there, which I've been through, and they kind of put them together like Tinker Toys.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that they are right here in Alabama.
Yeah.
So I really like those Steyr M9s. They've got several different sizes, and the SA1s all the way up to the LA1s. They're really, really good. Enjoy them. Can't talk about them enough. I was just shocked that, hey, it's very underrated firearm, and he's absolutely right.
Yeah,
but anyway, so we're going to go to our next caller, Chris, calling from Sims. Glad you can join us tonight. Welcome to Armed Alabama.
Hey, I appreciate the show. Listen to it one.
Yeah, Chris. Having a little hard time getting your signal through. Try it again.
Can you hear me?
Right now, but make it quick.
Okay. I'll try to.
Okay.
If Hillary's elected, God forbid, the first thing she's going to do is probably sign that assault weapons bill that's been floating around for a while and not been signed.
Yeah.
What's that going to mean for us with, our high-capacity magazines? And, there's so many of them out, and we got them. Is that going to affect us in any way?
First of all, it depends on what happens to Congress. If Congress stays in the hands, I'll say Republicans, but there are some pro-gun Democrats.
Yeah, there's some Republicans that I wouldn't even trust.
Yeah. Well, I know. The pro-gun Democrats
and I'm going to say that.
Two women from Maine in particular.
And I'm going to call that out, Republicans, because I are one.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, I'm the vice chairman of the Mobile County Republican Party. Me, Adam Strange, And, I want to call them out just as well. There's some
Well,
Republicans
they're
that I
worse
don't
in a
trust.
way because you think you can trust them.
Yes, that's what makes them worse.
But back to your question, it depends on the Congress. But if you've got the last one of those bills, it was the Feinstein bill, it grandfathered in the magazines. So if you're super concerned, I have some magazine rebuilding kits for most of mine with the spring, the follower, and all that. You don't need that many of them, just several, because it's hard to wear out a magazine. But that's where the problem would be. But and I don't think she can do it through any kind of executive order, because those things are about as phony as the paper they're written on. The problem is we never challenge them.
That's the thing. If they're not challenged, they are.
Yeah,
low.
well, that's right.
And so many times, time and time again, the president has sent out this edict, that, just by his signature, by executive order, this is going to be so. And time again, Republicans have sit back and let it happen.
They don't challenge it.
Yeah. Thank you for your call, Chris. Next caller.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
Caller, Gus from Mobile. Thank you for your call.
Hi, how you doing? My name's Gus. My concern is my wife and I both carry, but is the civil, and it's not the criminal court that I'm worried about.
That's a good question.
The last 40 years of being a good citizen, but it's the civil action. Is there protections in the state of Alabama if you were to use your weapon after being attacked to protect you from the civil suits?
The answer is yes, Gus. That was a really good question. Judge, you want to elaborate more on that?
Let me ask Gus a real quick question, if you're still there. Who are you concerned would file a civil suit against you? That's
it's someone that I use the weapon against, either wrongful death or
them or their family.
Or their family.
I got you. If you have used it unjustifiably, then you're going to be in the penitentiary, and then sure you could get sued. And there's no insurance that you can buy that'll cover you, because insurance or any of these plans, none of that'll work. But, that'd be the least of my concerns if I had a life sentence or a 20-year sentence. But in the law, if you use your firearm justifiably, it protects you against civil suits. So it gives you immunity from a lawsuit, and I'll tell you
that's Alabama 13A, and I can't remember.
I'll get you the exact number. But
I can't remember.
Somebody breaking into your home, you shoot them and kill them. I can't. There's probably only one lawyer that I kind of alluded to earlier. Lawyers that drink themselves to sleep every night, don't keep up with the law. Those would be the only kind of lawyers that would file such a suit. And they don't want to invest their time into some nonsense like that. That's the kind of thing you hear of in California, but we got protections in the law like that. I'm more concerned about you being charged criminally. That's why, extreme caution. Civil is just not going to happen in this state. It's just
we use our weapons judiciously. We really do.
It's a good word.
Rust and ever have to use it, but. It's a concern when you read the news of other people, wrongful death suits in other states. Not so much in Alabama. You don't really hear about it in Alabama, but you hear in other states, criminal breaks into your house, person defends himself, and then they get sued for defending themselves, and then they're financially liable either to the families or that criminal, even though there wasn't a criminal court case. And that's our concern.
And you hear the craziest ones, and if you follow up on them, a lot of times they're reversed on appeal. It's like some, burglar falls through somebody's skylight, when he's burglarizing a home and is paralyzed and he sues the homeowner. If you follow up on a lot of those, they're later reversed and there's really no judgment entered. But, it's good to be concerned, but your basic thing is if you use your weapon legally, according to the law, then you're not concerned about that.
Yeah, and you can go and look that up, Gus, as we referred to it a while ago casually as Alabama 13A, but you can go and look it up. You can Google it and, Google it, download it. Make sure you read the sections pertaining to concealed carry or home defense, where it's not really called that way. It's called out by the actual terms that's in Alabama 13A, but generically they're known as Castle Doctrine, which is protection of your home, and you have the right to defend your home, and you don't have to retreat or have that duty of retreat. And then also in a concealed carry situation, you have stand your ground law that kind of gets confused and misconstrued and kind of given a bad name over the years.
They predicted
by the
blood
media.
in the streets, didn't they?
Yeah.
What you want to do, just Google Code of Alabama, and then a menu will come up on the left side, and you go to 13A, and after you go to 13A, that's the entire criminal code. There are a couple places you've got to look. Under Title 3, that's 13A-3, that's defenses. And when you look through that, there will be in the 13, starting with 13A-3-20, that'll show you your defenses about use of force, when you can use force, etc. And just read through that. I think that'll give you a good insight compared to some other states.
I really do appreciate it, gentlemen. Thank you very much.
Thank you for calling in and listening.
Thank you, Gus. Next caller, Aaron from Pensacola. Glad you can call in, Aaron.
Hey, how you doing, Judge? How you doing?
Hey,
Adam?
fine.
Great. Thank you for calling.
Hey, the magazine that I got from y'all works great. Cycled it 3 times, not even through an AR, and it works great.
That's good.
Yeah,
that is
hey,
good.
I wanted to point out something that I know y'all are aware of, but just something that needs to be kind of brought to the forefront. The woman that called in earlier, that, her and her family got attacked by those, well, not necessarily attacked, but was approached by those scumbags in that parking lot.
Yeah.
Good on her, because not only did she have a gun, but she had situational awareness.
There you go.
Yes, absolutely.
And if I could say anything to parents of children, especially, teen years children, you've got to preach situational awareness. People are walking around now with their nose in their
They don't know where they
and
are.
walking off cliffs.
Yep. You've got it.
Absolutely ridiculous.
I could tell a good story, but I'd get in trouble over it. But, yeah, you're right. They don't know where they are. We've got to step into a break.
They don't know who's around them.
Yeah.
They don't know nothing.
We got to step into a break. I'm sorry. Thank you for that call.
Have a good day.
Thank you. We'll be back right after the break on Armed Alabama.
If your spine is in a bind, it's time to be aligned. For 20 years, Dr. Justin Foster has been diagnosing and taking care of spinal problems. Misaligned vertebrae can hurt due to a strain or sprain from an accident, or be injured by repeated use and can lead to a pinched nerve if not fixed. Pinched nerves can cause a series of discomforts, including decreased flexibility, headaches, muscle, joint, disc, and nerve pain. Foster Chiropractic of Tillman's Corner, easy to find across from Lowe's off Rangeline.
Mobile Bay Coins, this is Ron.
Hey, Ron, are you ready for the ultimate story?
Let's hear it.
Okay, so there's this hypnotist, Mr. Magic, on the cruise the missus and I went on last week, and after several disco ball run drinks, she thought it would be fun to get hypnotized.
Come
so
on,
Mr.
Dave.
Magic does his thing and has everybody on stage clucking like chickens. The gimmick was that when anyone said the word ketchup for the rest of the cruise, then they would cluck like a chicken until the stop word was said. And at the end of the cruise, the hypnotist would bring them all back on stage and release them. Guess who missed the ship on the last stop? Yeah, Mr. Magic. The kids are having a blast asking for ketchup just to hear her cluck until someone says mustard. Mr. Magic gets into port next week, and she really needs something pretty.
Come on in. Bring her with you. This might be fun. We're having hot dogs for lunch.
Mobile Bay Coins, much more than a coin store, at 2204 Government Street, on Facebook, online at mobilebaycoins.com, or call 251-725-1590.
It's so hot.
Man, it's hot.
It's really hot.
FM Talk 106.5 is keeping it cool this summer with your chance to win one of 8 Yeti coolers.
That's a lot of coolers.
It sure is. The most wanted cooler in the country can be yours.
I don't get it.
So here's how it works. Stop by one of our partner locations and register to win. Those places will be drawing names daily, and if they draw your name, you'll win a FM Talk 106.5 tumbler, and that gives you a 1 in 6 chance of winning a Yeti cooler. Complete details on Facebook and on FMTalk1065.com.
I just like it getting a little less hot.
Registered Red Wing Shoes, making the best boots for over 110 years. Mike Ward's Liberty Safes, lock 'em up. Hayes Jewelers on Cottage Hill Road, serving jewelry lovers for 35 brilliant years. And the Sleep Center, Mobile's mattress expert. You could win a Yeti cooler. Theft insurance not included. Visit all of our sponsors and keep it cool this summer with Yeti and FM Talk 106.5. Step up to the firing line. Armed Alabama is back. Questions, comments, and texts at 343-0106.
You see, in this world, there's two kinds of people, my friend. Those with loaded guns, and those who dig. You dig. When?
Adam, let me mention this. The caller was asking about a criminal and doing, suing you or whatever. And if you're justified in using deadly physical force or, physical force, but deadly physical force is, shooting someone. And let's say that it happens to penetrate someone and injure someone else in the process. If you are you're not okay because morally you're always concerned about that. But if you were justified and weren't acting recklessly or negligently in firing that shot, in other words, if you didn't see a pregnant woman behind him, we all always need to be concerned about what's behind somebody. But if you think it's clear and you make the shot to save yourself or your family or others, and you make the shot and it happens to hurt someone else, but you did it justifiably, in good faith, and not recklessly, then you're all right. You have immunity.
Yeah, a good example of that would be like the caller earlier, the lady who called and said that she drew her firearm in defense of herself and her children because these scumbags, as the caller pointed out, kept approaching her as she told them to go away, and they were making very lewd sexual comments and making unwarranted sexual advances. So that was a threshold.
Yeah.
They crossed that threshold. She told them to go away 2 or 3 times, and they still approached. Had she had fired her weapon and to stop them from attacking her and her daughters, and if there was somebody maybe
sleeping in a car.
Exactly, and they were struck by a round or something like that. So that's a good example of what you're talking about.
It's not something you would normally anticipate. So she wouldn't be responsible for that. But I know morally she would be concerned about it because she sounded like that kind of person. Adam, I know you had a few things on your plate.
I hadn't even begun to bring up what I want to talk about tonight. One of the things is the increase of violent crime. We heard the lady talk about tonight that she was carried and she was prepared. I can't say enough about how good that makes me feel to know that there are people out there that are prepared. And obviously, she has some training. She practiced drawing her weapon. But, violent crime is up. And, Judge, you and I was talking about at the break that, it's a direct result of police officers. I think you call it the Ferguson effect. Police officers, worried about what's happening, worried about maybe what hot water that they might find themselves in or what litigation or whatever, are not making contact with potential bad guys. And so with that, violent crime has increased and is risen dramatically across the United States. The number of homicides, rapes, robberies, assaults, and shootings that occurred in these cities as opposed to just 1 year ago, 2015. And I was looking for the percentage here, but the percentage was quite high. I can't see it right now in front of me. But, that's contributing to what you said, the Ferguson effect.
I'd like to give all the police officers a 2-month vacation, and because they're not responsible for protecting us. Their government is not responsible for protecting the individual, and then people would have to, quote, man up, unquote, and sink or swim and protect themselves. And I think the crime it either go totally anarchy or it come way down.
So just an example, just want to point out the statistics, and these are given by the Major Cities Chief Association. It shows 307 more homicides so far. That's not through the whole year. 307 more homicides in 2016 than 2015. And we're only halfway through the year. That is unbelievable. The same organization reported that there were 316 homicides in the Chicago area, and the police department said that was a 48% increase over last year.
Well, when you have a local shooting here, and we don't know how it's going to turn out, but when you have certain members of the public, political leaders, already with their minds made up, who force this police officer off the job, and along with a criminal threatening him physically, I mean, no wonder a police officer is concerned about stopping someone. Due process apparently means nothing to some of these radicals. And if you're a concealed carry holder and you're carrying your firearm, and you might find yourself in that situation, people ask, well, why do you conceal carry? Why do you do what you do? It's the same thing. Or I think we draw the analogy of carrying insurance on your home or your car. I mean, the chances are that you're going to need fire insurance on your home is very, very slim to none. But yet you have fire insurance. So, and it's good, Judge. You talk about the law portion of the class and prepare citizens or persons taking the class on what they might expect if they have to use their firearm in a concealed carry or home defense situation. That how to do it themselves, because it's a continuing process, And so email us if you're interested in the class on August 6th. Yeah,
the class is August the 6th, and if you're interested in our defense class, please email us, adam@armedalabama.com, or the judge at Armed Alabama. It will be August the 6th at Three Brothers Arms, which is across the bay over in Stapleton, just up Highway 59, north of I-10. It doesn't take long to get there. Even from Mobile, you're there in like 40 minutes. It's very quickly.
And it's for beginners to intermediate shooters.
Yes.
Or really anybody. So let's try to get this call cleared before we end the show. And we have got
Kevin.
Kevin's on the line. Kevin, how can we help you?
Hey, gentlemen, always enjoying the show right there.
Yeah.
The problem here is that most of these people post their values on, Saul Alinsky's book about radicalism. And when you look at it, how he broke it down, the 8 ways of, pretty much breaking down society. And part of that is with the police right there. God bless our police department. Jimmy Barber and all of the police and first responders are doing a great job out there. But the problem is the people that are out there, the radicals that are shaking everything, trying to shake things up, they're the ones, they have a gun on them.
Right.
Okay? Or either they'll have a private detective with them. So they have some type of recourse there if somebody tries to attack them. They're not going out there defenseless.
Yeah.
They're out there telling everybody else, listen, you need to disarm yourself. You need to do this. You need to go sing Kumbaya. And when they call for the police and they show up, they're the first ones out there with cell phones. It's almost like they've got these guys propped up in the bushes saying, okay, we're going to call 911. This policeman's going to show up, start shooting. It's like a film to them.
Oh, I know.
Well, these guys right there, next time that if somebody really needs them, they need to think long and hard when they put that person in harm's way right there, whether it be a policeman or a fireman. And then what do they do if they don't show up? They'll still be screaming, going, they didn't show up on time.
Oh, yeah.
The response time was too late right there. This person perished or this person was harmed right there. There's no winning with these radicals.
You're exactly right.
So the whole thing is, we need to go out next time you see a policeman or fireman right there, shake their hand, buy their dinner. Same thing with our
Kenny, I agree 100%. Couldn't say it better, but we got 1 minute to go. We got to wind up. Thank you for calling.
Thank you for calling.
Thank you.
We want to thank all our advertisers for advertising and sponsoring the show. Without them, we would not be able to be on the air. So by all means, please patron our advertisers and sponsors. And those are David Parnell at Palmer's Toyota, Dr. Justin Foster at Foster's Chiropractic of Tillman's Corner, Grayson's Air Conditioning, Mamoon Siddick at Remax Realtors, and McCoy's Outdoors.
They're all fine people and fine stores, and we thank them immensely. We thank Charlie Moss, our producer, and think about our class on August 6th.
Yes, and if you would like to advertise your business on Armed Alabama, or if you'd like to sponsor the show and want to contribute, please contact the radio station or email us, Adam at Armed Alabama or the judge at Armed Alabama. So glad you can join us. Catch us next week.
Same time, same channel.
This is Armed Alabama.
The rest of us can count on being free. They love our milk and honey, but they preach about some other way of living. And when they're running down our country, man, they're walking on the fighting